What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today, for episode 235, I want to give you 3 ways how branding creates recurring revenue. And before I get started into that, because it's really fun for me as a brand strategist running a marketing agency where I got into marketing, how it evolved into marketing was because it's everywhere. It's in every business, and then it's growing exponentially. If you don't understand, okay, wait, all right, hold on. Let me get to my housekeeping. Yo, for my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, your comments. But I hope today you get something that you can apply immediately. That is the goal of the podcast. And for my worldwide faithful listeners, thank you for tuning in once again to the show. I definitely appreciate your support. Without you, I wouldn't be doing this. So we're at the end of 2024. We've seen a lot of different changes. We are going through an enormous amount of evolution when it comes to our economy, our technology, education, right? Some of the pillars of what we know as entertainment, healthcare, education, and those are the things that in a lot of ways kind of fuel and drive our economy systems. Now, this is not an economics class. This is not a workshop or a podcast. I won't go into that, but I will bring light to a couple of things that I've already talked about on my social feeds. If you haven't already, follow me. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and I'm talking about the show, as in the company NW and Associates, which is our umbrella organization, and NW brand, which is our marketing agency. If you go to the social, I'm going to talk to you about some of the reels that I posted, because I think it's really important to understand how, as a small business, a startup, and it doesn't matter if you're established, these are definite things that you cannot sleep on, which means you have to do, because first and foremost, the 3 ways, starting with number 1, you got to stay top of mind. And staying top of mind, how your branding creates this recurring revenue, is when it comes to, like we know as Black Friday here in the States and Cyber Monday, this is the time that people go to the top of the mind, as in, these are the things that I know I'm going to get because I've either bookmarked it, I looked up, or I waited for it. And top of the mind, this is the time where, I can get a potential deal or a sale. Maybe it's going on discount, because you could be also one of the shoppers that say, look, I don't buy anything unless it's on discount or on sale. But if you're like Apple, that's something that never goes on sale. But that's not true, right? Apple does put things somewhat in the category of, because they have rollouts, you can get specials from the carriers. Another conversation for another time. But number 1, how do brands create that recurring revenue all the time based off their brand, which is why brand equity is so important, is they stay top in mind. That's number 1. Number 2, and I should say the example I haven't gave you yet for the top of mind, but I'm going to give one here before this even gets released for when it comes to top of mind. All right. So number 2 is it creates a continuous flow of data. Now, the example I'm using is going to be McDonald's. McDonald's is a perfect example of how we all eat food. We all of, say, the boomer generation, which has the most assets. I was going to say liquidity of assets, but they can spend the most down to Gen Xers, millennials, etc., right? Well, they know McDonald's as a bargain place to get fast food. It is a fast food symbol of where everybody became to understand the way the layout to do fast food. They were the leaders in fast food. And they set up the blueprint for fast food. And when you think of fast food, there's nothing like, as an old school old timer, I'll say, hey, look, look, I ain't mad. I ain't mad. I'm not mad that I'm old school. But we think of McDonald's. McDonald's is one of those organizations that have to continue to reinvest and evolve. And I will say another one is Domino's, which Domino's has always been a lot more transparent, because when I teach in colleges, they're in all the McGraw-Hill business books, marketing, operations management, just business. It's funny, they're all in all of them. And they talked about their evolution, but I did one on McDonald's just showing you how you go to the homepage, the website, which the website is important, right? But now you get to the app, the application, the mobile application, and you also have opportunities to where you have DoorDash, Postmates, Grubhub, all those food deliveries too. Well, you keep that on your phone and you create a profile, you use it. That is great data for the companies to understand how to leverage someone like you in your area, what you have the income for, as in, what is your budget? What do you spend on a regular basis? The interests that keep you coming back. What time do you buy? What's the basket size? All that is great data to where they don't have to send out a team of people to do surveys or listening sessions. They don't have to do special events. You having an app just allows them to collect that data. That data will allow them to keep you focused on them staying top of mind. So number 2 does influence number 1 highly, 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 highly. Would recommend, if you could get an opportunity, not to say get an app, but find a way to always learn the data from your existing customer base rather than getting new customers, because that is much harder. But guess what? With anything, and when you stay top of mind and you go through your customers, your clients, you have attrition, which leads to number 3. Your brand should remind people of how you solve their pain points and you provide that solution. And I did a video on Topgolf, and it's on the NW Instagram page, which you should go check it out. Follow it if you haven't already, and see what I did. Topgolf gave me thumbs up. We did a handshake to, as a thank you. They crush it in their branding. No matter where you go in their building, their premises, even leading up to it, Topgolf is there. What I failed to do is include their mobile app, because their mobile app is just as dynamic and it keeps you highly engaged. And again, it gives you that data that you need. But it is not just a one-way street where you're giving this data. They're giving you the value of being a member and being part of their family, which is part of brand. And at the end of the day, when you have all these things together, the branding is an experience that keeps you wanting more, right? You keep wanting more of this brand experience, but this brand experience can only be done at this place. Here's where being specific and original really does matter when it comes to that value proposition. Like, how are you different? Like, how do you deliver your services? There's other driving ranges. There's other fast food places. There are other places for entertainment. But now people, as in businesses, are learning that we want a unique custom experience, and unique and custom is not cheap, which is why the branding is important. But again, as I mentioned before, branding doesn't sell, right? It's not an immediate sell. It's an opportunity to sell every time you get in front of your people, or you are able to be top of mind. Like, when I'm hungry, what do I think about? When I want to be entertained, what do I think about? If I have some spare time, what do I think about? How do you stay top of mind? And this is where, like I said on McDonald's websites, it shot them straight back to the app. And if you didn't have the app, they want you to download it. So this gives them the opportunity to serve you better. And don't be scared of this innovation, because we all have to find the right way to engage with their customer. And if you're a business owner, you might not need an app, but there are other ways that you can stay engaged. You like, okay, Nathan, okay, how? I don't have money for an app. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. You can stay engaged by doing social media, engaging people on their social media platforms. There are social media platforms that are great for this, and people love it, and they stay on that. They get the information on that. Nathan, I don't do social media. Hey, that's fine too. You can do emails, much more analog. It's still a tried and true way to get results. So, email is one of the most effective ways to convert. They still got, I don't know the recent data, but I knew it was about a good 40% effective rate, but you might only have no more than 5% open rate. But that 5% open rate click rate could be to where, not open rate, you have 40% open rate, how many people open up your emails, and about 5% to, if you can get 10% to them clicking on it, you're in the money, okay? Those call to actions, or I should say, when you create those call to actions to be rooted in that strategy of how your brand is going to create that recurring revenue for you. So those are the things that when I say I'm a brand strategist, I want people to have their brand work hard for them. You work so hard for your brand, now let it work hard for you. So this is what I wanted to say. At the end of the year, as we're shifting into the next year projections and how we're building and strategizing for next year to how we execute, right? As we close up the year, I want you to think, what does this mean for your brand, and how do you start maybe you start December. Maybe you start, I know we're already in December, but maybe it's an announcement for Christmas or something. I'm not saying give it away, but how do you say top of mind? You allow the data to come back to you, and you remind people of how you solve their problem. Again, number one is top of mind. Two, you create the opportunity for that flow of data to come into you so you can serve them, to where number three, you remind them that you are a solution to their problem. And with that, I'm calling it a wrap. So I hope for my first-time listeners and my worldwide listeners, if you glean anything from the show, I ask you to subscribe, review, and rate the show. And I hope you can immediately apply this today and start making your brand more memorable, getting that data, and helping folks that you are the solution to them. And with that, I wish you nothing but the best. You heard it first on Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I wish you nothing but the best. So until next time, dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. Hey, if you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in this topic. And also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or social media networks. See you next week for the next episode.